All right, welcome to another explainer. Today we're tackling a massive, honestly kind of intimidating macroeconomic concept. I mean, we hear about it on the news literally constantly. We feel it at the grocery store. But understanding the underlying mechanics, it can still be pretty tricky. So we're going to break it down using a really powerful, honestly fun mental model. Today we explain inflation by banana. That's right, we are going to master the complex economic engine of supply, demand, and currency by looking at a very simple, very relatable primate economy.
Okay, let's dive into this. You might be wondering, what can a monkey actually teach us about macroeconomics? Well, let's establish the rules of our jungle real quick. Think of bananas as our goods. They represent the whole shebang. Everything a monkey could ever want to buy, like food, shelter, services. And the leaves. Leaves are our fiat currency. They are the dollars, the euros, or the yen sitting in our monkey's pockets, used to trade for those goods.
Now, before we get into the actual disruptions, we have to look at the absolute most basic baseline rule of this economy. It's the law of scarcity. Look, if the monkeys only have one banana in the entire jungle, that banana is incredibly rare and therefore it's incredibly valuable. They'd trade countless leaves for it. But if the monkeys figure out how to grow a massive surplus and suddenly have, way more bananas than they know what to do with, the banana becomes common. And when it's common, it just isn't as valuable. Basically, scarcity drives value. Keep that rule in the back of your mind as we introduce our first problem.
All right, so let's transition into the first major disruption to our peaceful monkey society, demand pull inflation. Imagine the monkeys suddenly demand way more bananas than usual. Maybe there's a new all-banana diet trending across the jungle, kind of like the primate equivalent of a massive consumer boom or stimulus checks hitting bank accounts. But the banana farmer, he's making the exact same amount of bananas as he always has. Because there's this sudden, much higher demand chasing a totally flat, unchanging supply, those available bananas become significantly rarer to the average monkey. When monkeys want more but the supply is completely flat, the price of the banana simply has to increase. The surging demand literally pulls the price up.
Now, let's look at the second disruption, which shows the exact opposite trigger causing the exact same painful price hike. We call this cost-push inflation. In this scenario, the monkey's demand for bananas stays perfectly normal. Literally, nobody is trying to eat extra. But maybe due to a bad harvest or a crazy drought, which is basically a major real-world supply chain shock, the banana farmer suddenly has far fewer bananas to sell. Once again, because the total pool of bananas just shrank, the fruit becomes rare on the market. That sudden drop in supply pushes the price up, making our monkeys hand over more leaves for the exact same snack.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the direct contrast here. Look at this. Demand pull inflation happens because consumer behavior changes, right? It's an entirely consumer-driven scarcity. On the flip side, cost push inflation happens because the supplier's constraints change, so it's a supplier-driven scarcity. It's two completely different paths that both lead to the exact same frustrating destination, bananas costing more leaves.
Let's see how this builds into a really interesting supply chain dilemma. We call this production cost inflation. Picture this scenario. A monkey buys a banana, eats it, and it tastes so unbelievably good that they run and tell all their monkey friends about this specific banana store. So the monkeys rush in and buy up all the inventory. Now the banana farmer is thrilled, obviously, but to keep up, he has to plant way more banana trees. The catch? Banana seeds have suddenly become way more expensive to buy. So what does the farmer do? To avoid losing money, he's literally forced to raise the price of his bananas just to cover those newly expensive seed costs.
So, we've talked all about the goods, but what about the currency? This brings us to monetary inflation, and this brilliantly illustrates currency devaluation. In this scenario, the banana demand is completely normal, and the banana supply is perfectly normal. But the monkeys suddenly find themselves holding way more leaves than usual. Maybe it was just an incredibly windy autumn, which is the jungle's equivalent of a central bank massively expanding the money supply by, printing money. Because there are so many extra leaves circulating in the jungle, the leaves themselves are not worth as much as they were yesterday. The banana hasn't changed its inherent value at all. It's the leaf that has lost its purchasing power, forcing the price up. And now, we reach the breaking point of our economy. Because when prices start rising like this, authorities usually step in to try and fix things. Enter the monkey government. The monkey government sees these super expensive bananas and is about to attempt a terrible, terrible fix for these rising prices. They are about to trigger something economists call the hyperinflation doom loop.
Okay, follow these steps with me because this gets crazy fast. Step 1. The price of a banana goes up. Step 2. The monkey government decides, hey, no problem. We'll just create more leaves so the monkeys can afford them. Step 3. Armed with extra leaves, monkeys rush out and buy way more bananas. Step 4.
But wait, because of that massive surge in demand, the banana price goes up again. Step 5. So the monkey government creates even more leaves. Step 6. The price goes up again. So they print more leaves. Price goes up. More leaves. It is a completely ridiculous, entirely unhinged cycle of printing currency just to chase runaway prices, and spoiler alert, it never ever works.
And boom, that brings us to the ultimate collapse. The loop spins entirely out of control until the money is essentially just trash. Eventually, the monkey government has to completely scrap the worthless leaves. They gather them all up in a giant pile, burn the leaves, and announce that they're starting over from scratch. Sticks are the new currency. The entire system undergoes a hard reset simply because the old fiat money was inflated into total, absolute worthlessness.
All right, let's take a collective breath here, step back for a second, and bring things down to a serious level. Monkey is all of us. I know it's a fun, slightly absurd primate fable, but this connects directly to your own wallet and your own purchasing power. The leaves, that's your hard-earned paycheck. The bananas are your groceries, your rent, your gas. Inflation isn't just some abstract line on a chart somewhere. It is the silent force determining what your time and your savings are actually worth in the real world.
So the crucial point is, how does this actually affect you? Well, it all depends on your personal ratio of income to costs. Let's map this out. If your leaf growth, meaning your income, goes up at the exact same rate as the banana price, the monkey state is happy. You break even. If your leaves go up but the banana price magically stays the same, you're incredibly wealthy, rich as you know what. But if your leaves stay exactly the same and the banana price goes up, that equals one poor, sad monkey. Your standard of living just took a massive hit.
Which leads us to the absolute ultimate takeaway for you, the viewer. How do you survive banana inflation? First off, avoid simply holding on to your leaves. If your cash naturally loses value over time, stuffing it under a mattress is just a guaranteed loss. The only real way to avoid that sad monkey state is to invest your banana. You have to put your resources into real-world assets, things like equities, real estate, or businesses that will actually grow more bananas with time, allowing your wealth to easily outpace the devaluation of the currency.
So I want to leave you with this provocative thought today. Will you let your leaves lose value, or will you plant your bananas? It is the central question of personal finance in literally any economy. You have to be proactive to protect your purchasing power because, as we've learned today, sometimes inflation can get really bananas. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope mapping this out visually helped clear up the mechanics of macroeconomics for you. Keep learning, keep planting those bananas, and I'll see you next time.